Jay here, Stretford, Paddock. This is the Paper Talk. As you can see, I'm in the studio, so you know what to do. It's live. Get involved in the chat and the comments. Many of the stories this morning focusing on the quotes from last night's game, post-match interviews with the likes of Erik Ten Hag, of course, giving his thoughts on Cristiano Ronaldo and Jadon Sancho getting amongst the goals. We've also got some transfer stories because, you know, there's always transfer stories at Manchester United. You can see from the thumbnail there, there's rumours, reports, whatever you want to call them, that Manchester United could have, or Erik Ten Hag could have, something like £100 million to spend in January. Apparently he had 70 million, but if Ronaldo moves on, then he could have 100 million. It seems a little bit excessive, doesn't it? But we'll find out just how accurate that is. We'll get into all that as well. And any other stories doing the rounds. There's a couple of other stories doing the rounds as well, which we'll get into. So it's important you get involved. That's the main thing. So hit that like button and let us know what you think about all the latest news. We'll start with some of the quotes from last night. Manchester United's game against Sheriff in Moldova. I mean, pretty sort of run-of-the-mill, really, wasn't it? It's a nice 2-0 win. Wasn't the most exciting game. There was no dramas, and, you know, it's not very often you say that about a Manchester United game. So we'll take that. We'll take a nice, comfortable victory. One of the sort of, you know, stories or interesting parts last night was this thing of Ronaldo ending his goal drought, if you can call it a goal drought. Well, for him, it is a goal drought, isn't it? I think it had been sort of 5.5 hours without a goal. So Erik Ten Hag was talking about that. He said about Ronaldo, he said he's totally committed to this project, totally committed to this team, totally involved. He also has connections that are coming around him, and he's constructing connections, so I'm happy with that. Speaking about his goal drought, he said, we could expect this when you miss pre-season. He's had to work really hard and invest to get the right fitness. He will score more goals. He's really close. When he gets more fitness, he will score more, he said. So he's not, you know, he's not too concerned there about Ronaldo's lack of goals. I mean, getting off the mark in the Europa League with a penalty is probably the least sort of inspiring goal that Cristiano Ronaldo has ever scored, or one of the least inspiring. But it's good for him to get off the mark because, you know, Cristiano Ronaldo does like goals, doesn't he? So he'll get off the mark. I saw this story as well. I'll just quickly on Ronaldo. I just quote tweeted it in the, I think it was in the Daily Mail. Yep. About Ronaldo refusing to take a photo with a fan at half time, and I think it was one of the staff there in the ground tried to grab a picture of him at half time, and he just, you know, he didn't want to have any of it. He just went down the tunnel without taking a picture, and I just think that's a bit of a non-story, really. I don't know why they're kicking off about it, because I can sort of get it after the game, you know, you can always stop for the odd selfie or whatever. But at half-time, when you're going back to the dressing room for the manager's team talk, I can understand why Cristiano Ronaldo didn't want to sit around or stand around, taking selfies. You think, yeah, you've got to get back there. You've got to listen to what the manager's instructions are. That's just sort of normal. So, yeah, I think that's a bit of a non-story. There's a few non-stories doing the rounds last night. I saw one of these websites having a dig at Harry Maguire and getting it all wrong about how many games he's been involved in and all that sort of thing. Harry Maguire is getting a lot of stick this season, but if you are going to criticise him, at least be accurate in your criticism. Jadon Sancho was the other big story last night. Obviously, scoring again. He's having a good season so far. It was good to see his little celebration as well. I don't know if you saw it last night. He held up his shin pads that had his picture on, and he explained that after the game. He said, a little kid gave me some shin pads and asked me to wear them, and I said, yeah, no problem. And it was a little gesture to show how I was wearing the shin pads he gave me. Quite a nice touch, that, innit? Do you know what I mean? You'd be buzzing, wouldn't you, that kid? He gave Jadon Sancho some shin pads. You don't even know if he's going to wear them or what he's going to do with them. You know, you think he'd probably throw them away. But for him to actually wear them and then show you, or show the world that he's wore them when he scored, is even better. And, you know, it's good to see there's a little bit of a likeability factor coming back into this Manchester United team. I never thought I'd say that after last season when, you know, I think we'd all had enough of him, haven't we, towards the end of the season especially. But no, they do seem to be doing a lot of the right things as well. There's another story this morning about the Golden Boy. This is sort of, I think this comes from Tutto Sport, their nominations for the best young player in the world or in Europe. Anthony Elanga has made the top 40. I think there's a 100-man shortlist drawn up at first, and it's down at 40 now. And you can go on the website and vote for anyone. There's quite a lot of players on. There's 40 players on there as you'd expect. So there's like Marquinhos from Arsenal's in there. I'm just looking through some of the list of some of the ones who are on there. The voting's opened. Benjamin Sesko's on there. Who else is there? Nikola Zalewski, I mean, yeah, there's hang on a minute. Oh, Harvey Elliott's on there as well. At the moment, Anthony Elanga's got 0.4% of the vote. He's got, let's have a look, 9 votes out of 2,150. But it's only early days. You never know. There could be a rush of votes for him to get him up to shoot him up that list. At the minute, Zaleski is winning with 43% of the vote. He's got a massive share of the vote, which is quite surprising. So Anthony Elanga there getting nominated. He's done all right this season, Elanga. He still could do with a goal, couldn't he? Could do with getting amongst the scorers. But he has been lively when he's come on, and I think quite a lot of people are willing to just throw him under the bus and say, oh, he's not good enough. He's still a young player. He was overplayed last season. We all know that. He shouldn't have played the amount of games he played last season. I just think there's a player there. Maybe he would benefit from a loan. Some people suggested being played sparing, being used in the right way would help him as well, because he was overused last season. Andre Moses, great show, Jay. Jokoya Trot says, morning, Jay. Invisible Light says, good evening from North Korea. Michael Keith says, 100 million is someone on the disco biscuit. So let's get into that. It's a fair point, because when I saw this, I was like, what? No. I didn't think we'd have any money for January transfer windows. It seems like there's a few papers that have got this. The Evening News has got it. ESPN have got it where I saw it. It seems like it's come from the Sun. Don't buy the Sun. It might have emanated from there. And there's this story going on that Manchester United manager Erik Ten Hag, this is from ESPN, will be handed up to 100 million for transfers if Cristiano Ronaldo leaves in the January transfer window. It goes on to say about what we spent, and it says Ten Hag will reportedly receive 70 million for January transfers, but this could increase to 100 million if Ronaldo leaves. Now that seems a bit of a surprise to me. It seems a bit excessive. I'm of the opinion United should always have almost as much money as they want for any transfer. I do. I think that the club the size of Manchester United, the money that we've wasted, we've wasted a lot of money, and you go, can't just throw good money after bad. But we should always have money for transfers, especially when we finished 6th last season. We're playing catch-up to the likes of Manchester City, and I know we beat them, but even Liverpool. And you don't catch them up by not going big in the transfer market. It's just not possible. Yes, you've done well to get Malacia and Eriksen on 2 absolute bargains. Eriksen on a free is just ridiculous, one of the best frees ever. But you do need to spend money. We do need to spend a lot of money to get challenging for the top honours, man. We want to be challenging for Premier League titles, get back into the Champions League and challenge for that as well. And you're not going to do that unless you spend money. So I would like to see Manchester United spend money. I don't go into this thing of, oh, well, there isn't any money. We spent it all. There's always money. They always find money for dividends. They can find money for transfers when we need to. That's what Manchester United should be doing, challenging. And there's ways and means around it, ways and means of generating that revenue, of getting that income in, of getting money sanctioned for transfers. So, the Glazers have got no excuse. Got no excuse for anything, the Glazers, and the sooner they're gone, the better. But this idea that when we spent a lot of money in the summer, we shouldn't have money in the January as well. We should have both. And according to these reports, we have done. We'll have to wait and see. There was a story, one that Cristiano Ronaldo has been linked with this move to Saudi Arabia for £211 million a year, which is ridiculous. Is he going to go to Saudi Arabia? I don't know. Is someone going to come in January for him? In one of the top leagues in Europe, somewhere where he may be willing to go, may offer him Champions League football. We'll have to wait and see. I still feel like Cristiano Ronaldo, could get a move somewhere. You still feel that someone there will go, actually, it's Ronaldo. Let's just take a punt. It was a bit of a surprise he didn't go in the summer. I think obviously his wages are a big deal. Even if he takes a pay cut from what he's on at Manchester United, he's still going to be on massive money. There's also that thing of, if you've got Ronaldo, you more or less have to build your team around him, and it all becomes the Ronaldo show. So maybe that's putting a few people off. But in January, if someone's looking for a proven goal scorer, looking for a superstar, then they may come in. Someone might be struggling a little bit, need that little bit of a bump. Cristiano Ronaldo can certainly give you that. Abdullah Ibrahim says, Glazers are only spending to add to the sale value. Listen, if the Glazers are spending, or it's not their money, it's our money in it, if they are sanctioning funds because this is geared towards a sale, even better. There's talking of Jim Ratcliffe not just looking at United, but already getting a team in place for when he takes over Manchester United. Now, Jim Ratcliffe seems like a better option, a much better option than the Glazers. I'm always a little bit wary when you're going, this billionaire benefactor is going to be the answer to all our problems, even when someone, does have a decent reputation like Jim Ratcliffe. So you have to sort of, be a little bit cautious. But from what we see, from the interviews he's given, especially when he spoke to Dan Rowan at the BBC in the summer, when he was interested in buying Chelsea, the way he spoke about football, the way he spoke about his intentions at Chelsea, very positive. Obviously, that didn't happen. He is a Manchester United fan. He's a boyhood Manchester United fan. He admitted that in his interview with the BBC when he was linked with the Chelsea ownership. So, it's not something he's just made up now or just said now he's been linked with United. So that would make you think he certainly cares more about his club than the Glazers do. Don't care about it at all. You just have to wait and see whether Jim Ratcliffe does actually come in and whether, he could be the answer to some of our problems, because he's got money. I think he's worth about 20 billion quid. So unlike the Glazers, who didn't have any money when they took over, who didn't use any of their own money when they took over Manchester United, he would use his own money. He would have that money you'd expect anyway to buy Manchester United. There was a story doing the rounds, I think, last week or the week before. I think it was last week, actually, that United could be available for around 3.75 up to 3.9 billion. It's obviously massive amounts of money, but for someone like Jim Ratcliffe, he could afford that. He could afford to pay that himself without needing loans and all the other stuff that the Glazers used or any other investors. We'll have to wait and see what happens, though. It might be a slow process, this. Ideally, I think a lot of us would want to see him come in or someone come in, buy the club off the Glazers outright and just move on from there. But it may have to be, sort of a gradual process where they take a smaller share and then increase it over a period of time. Let us know what you think about Ronaldo. Let us know what you think about Ratcliffe. Let us know what you think about anything. Jake says, the January window has potential to be the most mental winter window ever, with the World Cup just before it. Santa Notch, good to see Santa Notch in the chat, says, if they are adding to the sale value and then sell, maybe we have a head start for new owners. Good point. A few people have made that. Destino Portugal says, Jim Ratcliffe promoted Brexit. He's worse than the Glazers. I mean, I was no Brexit voter, but I don't know if he's worse than the Glazers. I wouldn't say that. On Jake's point about the January transfer window, obviously this is quite a unique situation. It's never happened before where you've had the World Cup just before the January transfer window. And again, you have to be careful here, because sometimes in a World Cup you can get someone who shines. You can go to a World Cup and you could score 4 goals, for example, and you go 4 goals in a World Cup. Fantastic. Romelu Lukaku did it in 2018, I think, didn't he? Scored 4 goals in the World Cup. You think, decent return, that, yeah. But when you look at it, you go, okay, he scored 2 against Tunisia and 2 against Panama. What's the calibre of opposition there? No disrespect to them, but are they Premier League standard opposition? No. And he came back to United, he put on a load of timber, whether he's intentionally or not, and he was, a shadow of the player that had gone out to the World Cup. So doesn't always bode well just go, oh yeah, based on the World Cup performances, let's get someone. You have to look at what they've done for the club as well, and also look at the calibre of the opposition. If someone like, wins the World Cup and beats all the top teams and has a stormer against all of them, then yeah, obviously you could go, yeah, he's a superstar. But you just have to be wary of some of these players. I remember when we bought Kleberson and he'd won the World Cup, hit the bar in the final, the World Cup final. He was terrible. And Scolari, who's a Brazilian manager, said he's the player that makes this team tick. He does all the, the graft and all that, and he's the one, who's the sort of unsung hero. And he was, he was one of the worst signings we ever made. So, yeah, you just have to watch out for that. I think it's better if you're basing your transfer policy on what players are doing for the club rather than for the country, although that can add to it. And I think you will see a lot of transfers in January based on World Cup performances, because it's just the nature of the beast. Muya Man says, Jim Ratcliffe will probably head a consortium with him being the majority shareholder, 51%, and the rest of other investors, hopefully. Perhaps MK would be part of that too. I doubt it very much. Tomo Gashi says Elon Musk needs to invest with Ratcliffe and maybe have a say in a fully electrical Trafford. I don't think Elon Musk is going to buy into Manchester United. There was these rumours one day. I think, didn't he tweet a few months ago, that he was buying United and said it was a joke. He just seems like he's constantly trolling, Elon Musk. He just seems like he's just making mischief all the time, and I don't really see him coming in for Manchester United. I think there's certainly a lot more weight in the idea that Sir Jim Ratcliffe will do. I'm not so sure that you're going to see Elon Musk buying anything in Manchester United anytime soon. Should we have a really out there, bonkers transfer story? I know, making this sound like it's really realistic, aren't I? There's a story, I've seen this in the Express, about Kylian Mbappe, right? This has been doing the rounds the last couple of days about Manchester United being linked with Kylian Mbappe, right? It started on Wednesday, this, I think, and it was, I think there's a couple of newspapers, and I'm trying to find where it started. I know the Express have got it, and maybe a couple of others. This idea that, I think it might have started from Fabrizio Romano mentioning something that in 2024, I think Kylian Mbappe can walk away from his PSG contract. He's got a crazy contract where he just calls all the shots. He's on stupid money. I think he's on about 900k a week or something. But I think in 2024, he can leave for free. So he's just got the most perfect contract for him you could wish for. I think he has a say in everything. Practically, he can pick the team if he wants. So people looking at it going, okay, in 2024, if he can walk away, who's going to go in for him? And United, one of the teams that were mentioned. Now, it wouldn't surprise me if he was available on a free, if United were looking at him, because he's one of the biggest stars in the world. United do spend a lot of money on wages and transfers and things like that. So you think maybe they could go and try and tempt him. I just don't see it happening at all. I don't see him coming to Manchester United. I think you look at the current situation we're in, which isn't great, although I think Erik Ten Hag's doing a good job. At the moment, we're not even in the Champions League. The amount of money it would take, you'd have to, smash your wage structure for someone like Mbappe. And I just think it's highly, highly unlikely. Seriously, I just don't see it happening. He was linked with a move to Madrid on one day. This has come, I think, from Romano. And he says United are yet to make contact with the France international's representative, despite suggestions they're keeping tabs on the player. I mean, keeping tabs on Kylian Mbappe is just meaningless, isn't it? Anyone's keeping tabs on him because you see what he's up to all the time. And, he's not exactly playing in some league that's not televised. And, we don't know any of his stats or see any of his goals or know what's going on with him. He's one of the most sort of, spoken about players in the world. So keeping tabs on him is meaningless. He's not like he's having to send scouts to some Scandinavian outpost to see this kid in a team you've never heard of. He's one of the biggest names in football. I don't see it happening. I think he'll go to Madrid when his contract at PSG ends, unless they throw even more money at him to keep him in Paris. You'll have to wait and see. But yeah, Kylian Mbappe to Manchester United, no, can't see that one. To be honest with you, I don't like being negative, but you have to be realistic, don't you? Come on, we can't just be expecting things like that. Chris Naylor says, don't be surprised if Musk does buy a percentage in the range of 10 to 20%. He's a Man United fan. I think he's a United fan. He was one of them. He said he used to watch United when he was a kid or whatever. He's put United kid. I don't know how strongly he is a fan. And also, I don't know if he's got the desire to buy Manchester United. Even buy, you talk about 20% stake. That's probably still going to be, just short of £1 billion or whatever. It's not change, is it? It says it's that keeping tabs phrase again. Yeah, monitoring the situation, keeping tabs. It's almost meaningless, isn't it, really, to be honest with you? Joyka Trot says, if Pogba was a circus media-wise, Mbappe would be a full festival. Mahmuda Katoon says, Neymar Jr., Man United next target. We were linked with him, weren't we, a little bit in the summer? People were saying, there's... Neymar could be on his way to Old Trafford, or again, it's probably United monitoring it or keeping tabs on it. These superstar players, listen, the superstars for a reason, they're very talented. And if we signed Neymar, I said at the time, I'd be buzzing, but I didn't think it was going to happen. And you could argue that's probably not what United need. We don't need another superstar who's just coming for a pay packet and who's, his best days are behind him. You want someone who's going to come to Manchester United because he wants to win things. They want to help the club win things. They want a challenge for the top honours. There's a real desire there to have success at Manchester United. And some of the players that we're linked with who, have just sort of followed the money recently, I don't think that's the answer. As always, we'll keep you posted on what goes on with... I wouldn't say Mbappe. I don't think you need us to keep you posted because if Mbappe did anything Manchester United to break the internet, I don't think he will. Also, we've got some merch here. We've got these wonderful cups and also t-shirts, hoodies, sweatshirts, all that good stuff. We've got Bruno Fernandes merch, we've got Lisandro Martinez, we've got Anthony Elanga, who's, this golden boy nominee, don't forget. We've got Marcus Rashford, we've got Erik Ten Hag. Make sure you are visiting paddockmerch.com. If you buy 2 or more items, you get 20% off. Also, if you're a member, you get a discount as well. If you join the membership, you get a discount on that. You get extra content as well. Extra content on our membership. So do check that out as well. And if you're not doing, subscribe to the channel. Hit that subscribe button. There's a link in the chat for merch. There's a link in the description for subscribe. Jake says, any Phil Jones merch, Jay? We're looking into that. Wesley Raven says, you should do Paddock Parkers. Moya Man says, hit the likes. Well said. Hit the likes. Not even 100 likes here. Come on, people. Hit those likes, man. That's just unreal. I can't believe that's happening. We've also got, later on today, we've got the brew. If you've not done so already, don't forget, we haven't got many games coming up, so you might want to look at the reaction from last night's game. We've got Andy Tate, we've got Adam McCullough, we've got Stephen Howson's reaction from last night's epic victory over Sheriff, so make sure you're checking that out. I've been Jay. This has been The Paper Talk. Thanks for watching.